Hi guys, and welcome to this new lecture about maths. Now we have a request from John, our students, and he wants to create this kind of maths. And they are very beautiful and they are very easy to be made. Now there are two ways to create them. The first way is to create everything in After Effects and inserting your video in After Effects and then rendering again and creating a new video that has the maths. That's one. The second one is to create a video from within After Effects that will act as a matte in any other nonlinear video editing tool that you will want to use. So I'm going to show you how to do these mattes and apply them to your videos if it is within After Effects, Premiere Pro, or any other software that is nonlinear, meaning you are compositing for video editing. Welcome to this new lecture where we are going to work with maths and complicated maths. I will show you a couple of ways to do them in After Effects. Then we will move on maybe in the next lecture or the one after to create maths that you can use in any nonlinear video editing software. We're gonna start by creating this matte. It's very beautiful. It opens the video and we will go on to create another one. This one is a bit more professional. It gives you the shading and you can use it commercially even. Now, this is a great business if you want to do. You can take them to Fiverr, or there are so many people who are ready to give you their videos, so you can put these mats, or you can really sell the .mov mats to other users that they just want to plug them in their software. Okay, so let's start by creating these mats. As an example, I'm using here a NAT clip. This is a 1280 by 720 and it's only 3 seconds and 25 frames per second. Now we are going to start to create the matte in After Effects, and your video will be in After Effects, and then you will render to get your MP4 or your .mov to put it on YouTube or to use it in your work. To create the comp, I will simply click on the video and just drag it to the timeline. I have my composition. I want to start creating the mattes, and feel free to create all kinds of shape layers and give them the animation that you want. And then I will show you the procedure of how to make it a matte. I will do a simple one for the course. For example, I'll be creating shape layers, 3, 4, 5 of them, as many as you need. I will do the first one. Okay, I like it like this. That is cool. Now I press Ctrl, Alt, and Home to get the anchor point in the middle. I will select this shape layer and just duplicate it. Select my selection tool, pressing V, and then I'll move it to this side. Cool. Now I want to, make sure that the spacing here is quite beautiful, because a black line can appear or a white line, anything you want, depending on the background that you will put. I will also press Ctrl D, get another one and just put it here. Okay, Ctrl D, get the other one and put it here. Cool. I am set a bit, so that's fine, I think. Okay, I am set. I want to use this as a matte. Now, how do I do that? You know very well that the track matte will only work on the layer that is just above. And here I have 4 layers I want to use as mattes. The simple way is to create a pre-composition. I will right click and say pre-compose, and I will say mattes 1, for example, because we're going to have 2, 3. Now, the key here is to create a very beautiful animation, a smooth animation. If your shapes and your animation is not beautiful, the whole thing will collapse and your opening will be not good at all. So it's not about the technique, it's also about an art where you create this mask in a sophisticated, beautiful, and smooth way. Now I'm gonna try my best. Remember, I'm talking to you. If I'm doing it silently, alone, I would have taken my time and meticulously adjusted 100%, and you do that. I will come to 15 frames or half a second. I will open all the shape layers, press P, and keyframe the position. Come back in the beginning. Select the first layer, this layer for example, and move it up. So I want it to come from up. Cool. This layer, for example, I can move it down. And this layer also, I could move it down. I will click on it and press Shift and move it down. Okay, and this layer, maybe I'll move it up. So now I have a very normal animation. They come together. I will select all the keyframes, press F9 to give them an easy ease. I will go to the graph, and here now the art starts. I will take them and push them far for 2 seconds, for example. Still having selected all of them, I will just press Shift and move it this way, and this guy, make it a bit speedier from here. I selected all the keyframes. Notice what I've done, a lasso here to select all the keyframes. Cool. Let me go back here and see how is my animation. No, it's the 2 seconds animation, but it will work nicely. Cool, that's beautiful. Fine, coming here, we don't want these 2 layers to come together. We can either move one of the layers, okay, or play with the keyframes. First of all, I will move this layer inside and then shorten the time. So actually it will start after, but then it will speed up and gives you some kind of a nice animation. Now what else can you do? Let's say this layer here, you can just move it a bit inside, and this layer, I don't know, I'll just leave it here. Let's look at our animation. Are we happy from it? Not bad. It's a bit artistic, just a bit. Okay, you want to sit down and really work on it and make it very beautiful. I have created a matte layer. How do I make it a track matte? If I come back to my composition here, you notice that I have a pre-comp. There is nothing wrong in making a pre-comp a matte. In fact, After Effects will allow you to do that. So I will come to the track matte here. To open it, you just click on the transfer here. It will open it or close it depending on how it was. I will take the track matte and alpha matte to matte 1. Here you are. Okay, it all disappeared, but notice you have your track matte very beautiful. If I press spacebar to play it, it's playing very nicely and very beautiful. Now, this is one way to do it. Of course, I do not have a background here. You could come and put a background and play with it like I have done in the samples I showed you in the beginning. So what is beautiful and practical about this kind of mattes when you create a pre-comp? First of all, when you come to the matte, you are really at liberty to put any shape you want. You can add shapes here, you can do any animation, and you can use shape layers or really compose inside the shape layer in the content and make some very complicated animations and come up and make it a track matte. Since you have a pre-composition, you can come and do animation here. For example, I can rotate it 90 degrees. Then come, let's see it, then come and move it to over here. For example, something like this if you like. And then hide it again and it becomes a different matte. So you have done something different. Also, you can move it and say, okay, I want it here, over here. Okay, that's one. And it's very beautiful and very practical. This is one matte that we have created, but also you can create different mattes. In the next lecture, I'm going to show you how to create a more advanced matte using the repeater and using the shapes, tricks and tips. Welcome to this new lecture where we are going to make a bit more sophisticated matte. It's a very easy one. Let's create a new composition and call it matte 2, for example. That will do. It's a 1280 by 720. If your video is more than that, maybe you should make it just the size of your video. For example, 1920 by 1080. I'll click OK for now. That will work. I will come to draw a rectangle here, and I want this rectangle of a certain size. I'll put the anchor point in the middle, go to the rectangle. Inside the rectangle path, I have the size. I will unclick here and determine the size. I will make 1280 divide, that's the size of my composition, divided by 6 minus 10. So now 6 pieces will fill the comp, and in between them there will be a 2 pixel separation. A bit of math, a bit of calculation is no problem. I will come to align it on the side and align it on the bottom for the comp. Cool. I will take the shape layer, I will open it and add a repeater. And this repeater, I want to have 6 of them. Okay, and each one of them, I will see how much I'm gonna move them further away. You know all this information. Okay, I'm gonna try to bring it just to the end here. Here you are. It's fitting very nicely. Cool. So I will come to half a second or whatever you want here. Keyframe the number of copies. Come to the beginning and put the number of copies to 0. And here is my animation. It's a pretty beautiful animation. I'm gonna make it a bit longer. Okay, I'm not gonna ease it. It's just very nice the way it is. It's very simple and it's quite aristocratic, if you want to say. Fine, I will come to the video now and create a new comp using the video, and I will call it, it's already called itself, add clip 2. I will take the matte that I have created, which is matte 2, drop it on top of the composition and track matte alpha or alpha matte. If I play, you have a very sophisticated opening Of course, now you can come back to your mask tool, start playing here with the number of copies if you want, and the position, and maybe start opacity and opacity, do other transformations, whatever you like. Now, I used a simple rectangle. You could have used circles or anything else. Let me show you another one that is a bit complicated to create, but actually it is using opacity. I will open example math hex, and I'm sure you will have this one now, and I will open the add hex, and if you see it, it is a very beautiful animation. Let's play it. So it's opening hexagons all over, and the way the hexagons are appearing is through opacity. Then notice this hexagon is not getting to 100% opacity. Of course, you can play around with it. Let's go to the matte itself. I double click, and I have very many shape layers here that I just put around, if you can see. So this one and this one don't go to 100%. And I adjusted them as meticulously as I can to put them, with a small spacing in between. If you look at the animation, you press U, it's all opacity. And there is no easy in, there is nothing. It's just a simple opacity, and it works very fine, and it can give you, something extraordinary. Now, this is the kind of maths you can do in After Effects using pre-composition, and they are extremely powerful, and they are very beautiful. It's good to start to be very creative. It's good for you to imagine. You learned all these skills during the course. How are you going to put them together? Welcome to this new lecture. In this lecture, we are going to go professional. Actually, within After Effects, what you are going to learn is like just beginners or intermediate skills. It is not so hard to create this, but the applications are really professional. Any professional video editor will want this work from you. And of course, you can use it on top of all your videos. We are going to create video mattes. That's what I call them. Video mattes is when we create a composition, and we will use masks to create certain areas that are transparent and animated. We take this composition and make it a video, and then we use this video on top of all other videos to create a matte, if it is within After Effects or in any non-linear video editing program. Non-linear means that we can have layers on top of each other, and they affect each other when they are on top. Non-linear meaning they are next to each other, and really layers don't interact at all. Let's create a new composition, and we call it video mattes. Okay, now the size here will play a big role. You are going to matte videos that the size can vary from a tiny resolution of 480 to 4K. So it will be very good to create the highest resolution possible in After Effects. If you are using CC 2017, go for UHD 4K, and then you are sure that your mattes will cover any video. And then we will make it 5 seconds. Of course, you can make it longer or shorter depending on your needs. But actually, it is not very important. As long as your animation is within the 5 seconds, then the video editor can, stretch your video or make it shorter or cut it in pieces, do whatever he wants with the mattes. I will click OK here. You see that I already toggled the transparency on because I want to see what's transparent and what's not. I will come now and create a solid layer to start creating the masks. Take a solid layer and give it a different color. Let's say a color a bit dark for now to see exactly what's happening with us. Later on, you will have to change this color. I will click and create the first mask. I will move it to the outside a bit. It seems not outside. Okay, in the middle, something like this. Fine, you can always change this. Then duplicate that mask by pressing Ctrl D and selecting the second mask and moving it. Let's give it some space in between. I will do the same, another Ctrl D and move this one over here. Another Ctrl D and also move it over here. Okay, I'm trying to have the same spacing in between masks. Another Ctrl D and I will move it here. Oops, it's too big, no problem. Okay, so I will select all the masks and double click on the mask, on the border of the mask. You notice now they became one entity that I can free transform. For example, let's bring them here and make them a bit bigger maybe, and position them anywhere we want. That will be no problem for later on. Cool. Unfortunately, I cannot use a line or anything. Press enter to confirm. Now I want to animate the masks, but there is a big problem. Look at your masks exactly. Your masks are transparent from the outside and non-transparent from the inside. So actually, they're not acting as mattes. They are acting as cover-up. I need to change that. I'll take the first mask and make it inverted. It inverted everything else. Now the first mask has a transparent background, meaning I can see through when I put it on top of the other video. The second mask here I cannot invert because it will invert also the first mask. I will go and use subtract, and here I am using subtract for all of them. Notice the result now. The result is we have exactly created a matte that can work anywhere. You have transparency inside the masks and non-transparency outside the mask, and this is exactly what we want to use. Now we need to animate this. Of course, you can use it as it is, but it's not very interesting. I will click on the layer, press M, click on the first layer, press Ctrl A, select all the mask path, and go to 1 second, keyframe all the mask path. Come back to the beginning. Now, one by one, I'm gonna animate them. I'll take the first mask path, click on the border and take it up, for example. Take the second mask, click on the border, for example, the bottom one, and take it down. Okay, the third mask now, and click and take it up. Okay, that's cool. Fourth mask, same, take it down, be patient with me. And the last mask also, we click and take it up. So actually we have a very simple animation here. If you run it, press spacebar, cool. And you notice the transparency, I can see them. What I'm looking at is the transparency, and that is very important. Now, let's open here, select all our keyframes, give them easy ease, come to the graph and do something nice here. Let's stop the animation, select all of them, and let's move them to 2 seconds. Press shift to stay on the line. Click on the handle and move it to this side. I like this kind of animations. Cool, now it will do well, I think. Yeah, fine, let's run it. Here you are, they come very nicely. Cool, so we have created now video mattes. It's actually a pre-comp that has a background and has transparency. How do we use this? Let's go to our add clip and create a new comp here. Fine, this is our add clip, there is the movie inside. I will take our video mattes. This is now a composition. I will drop it on top. Now notice what's happening. It will cover everything. Yes, that's true. But there is transparency, and this is what we are going to see now. Let me play it. I press preview and notice what's happening. The transparency is working very fine. But of course, our layer is very big. Let's right click on it and say transform and fit to comp. And now you have something very different and it's very beautiful. Cool. Now, usually we are not going to use this gray background like this. It is not really nice unless you have a specific request or you start adding effects on the solid layer like ramp up or gradients or stories like this, or give it a texture if you'd like. But usually a single color like this will not work. People don't like it. So I will double click again on the video mattes. It's over here. I will come to the solid layer, go to layer, solid setting, and make it black. This is of course for the course, and here you are now. You have a pretty professional mask that you can use on top of any video, and this is very powerful. In the next lecture, what you are going to do is render this video matte, make it a video, a .mov, in fact, a QuickTime video, and use it and see exactly how it will affect the layers under it. In this lecture, we are going to create, that is, render our video matte. Notice, I want to draw to your attention here that there is no track matte, there is nothing, just one layer on top of the second one. So I will go to video matte. I'm very happy from my video. It has a black background and it has transparency. The animation is cool. Now we want to make it a video. Let's go to composition, add to render queue. I will delete the first one I was trying. And then I will come to best setting. In the best setting, you want the best settings and even more. I will click OK. Lossless. We go to lossless. And we surely don't want it AVI. We want it QuickTime. In the format option here, your best is animation. Please use animation in After Effects. It's very good. The others will give you some problems here and there. Okay, animation will do. And of course, the quality here, we want it at 100%. I will click OK. And then the most important is RGB. We don't want RGB, we want RGB plus alpha. RGB plus alpha means that the transparent layers, keep them transparent, or the transparent areas, keep them transparent. Or you can go to your alpha channel and look what is transparent and what's not transparent. During the course, we have done many of them. Cool, but in short, alpha, it says whatever is transparent, keep it transparent, please. In your video player, you will not see them transparent. It is in the video editing programs that you will see the transparency. I'll click OK. So this is video mass. Let me go and see where I'm gonna save it so it doesn't go on my hard disk and then I forget where I put it. Well, that's very fine for me. It is going inside my collection of video clips. I will just say save. Now we want to render. I will click on render and we start. It's rendering very fast, as you can see. Now I have a video called video mats. Let's go to our video clip 3. Let's delete our video mat here. We just delete this layer and we go and import the video that we have just created. It's called video mats. Okay, so we try to find it. It's over here. I have hundreds of videos. We click and we import it. Now I'm gonna take the video mat and just drop it on the other video. As simple as this. And then I can make it transform fit to comp or fit to comp height, whatever you want. And here you are, you're done. As simple as this. This is the technique. What's the technique? You create a masks animation inside a solid layer. You make sure you have your transparencies very right. Then you create a video or you render a video .mov RGB plus alpha, and the format is animation, and now you can use that video on top of any video in After Effects and outside After Effects. The most important is this technique is the way you are going to animate your masks. You need to be very meticulous and you need to be very good at it. In the next lecture, I will do another mask animation and show you a few tricks. You might want to see them and use them also. In this lecture, we are going to use animation for masks using the opacity of the mask. And it's a bit tricky, but I want to show you how to use it and how to create these kinds of video mats that are very useful later on. Let's take our video mats composition over here and duplicate. We have video mats 2. Change the name to video mats opacity, so you know very well what is happening. I will double click to open. I will come to the name here and say close other comps. So I have only this comp that is opened. The render queue is not a comp. Now I want to change the kind of animation I'm doing here. I have animated the shape. That's very cool. Let's come here and delete all these keyframes. So we have 0 animation. But what do we have? If you come to the layer here, we have the opacity. Now there is a small trick about the opacity. The opacity can go to 0. Unfortunately, for the first layer, it will clear everything else. Let's put it back to 100, but for the second layer, if you open opacity, it will work very fine for you. You see, you can darken it or make it opaque, and this is transparent. The trick here is if you want to use the first layer opacity, we need to create a layer before and we hide it around here so it becomes the major layer. I will select the solid layer, come click and make a small rectangle here. And take the mask 6 now and put it on top and say, I don't know, I will rename it to hidden. Actually, I will lock it later on and press enter. So now let's do this small trick. The first mask, I'm gonna invert it. And then the second mask here, I'm gonna put it subtract. So it's cool. Except this one, we are going to lock so we don't touch. Now if I fiddle with the opacity, you notice I have it non-transparent, transparent. The same for all the other layers. Cool. So let's come to 1 second and we want them all non-transparent. So I keyframe the opacity here. Come to this one, keyframe the opacity also. I will come to opacity, copy, go to the next mask, paste the opacity, go to the third mask, paste again, go to the fourth mask, paste, and paste again. Now, nice trick, right? Press U, and you have the opacity all keyframed. I will come to the beginning here, take the opacity to 0. Now I will copy the opacity, Ctrl C, come to the second mask, Ctrl V it, come to the third mask, Ctrl V it. You see it's happening. This one, Ctrl V and Ctrl V. I am so lazy and I love it. Now notice what's happening. The opacity is playing its role, but of course we're not going to leave it like this. What we are going to do is, first of all, to make it a bit shorter. Okay, then take the keyframes and start moving them on the side. Just like this. You can put the timing you want. I don't know if I'm doing a good timing, by the way, but we will test and see. Okay, let's run our animation. Cool, you see what they are appearing. Fine. So we created video mat opacity. Let's take the video clip, create a new composition with the video clip. Take our latest one, which is video mat opacity, drop it on top, and run our animation. And here we are, we have it fantastically working. right click on the mask if you like, transform and say fit to comp, and you have a very nice animation here with the opacity. And I have seen this in very many professional sites. Now, of course, what we have to do is to come to opacity, go to composition, say add to render queue, come to the best setting. In fact, we don't need best setting, we want it best, and we go to lossless. We will actually turn it into a QuickTime RGB plus alpha. That's very easy. And we have animation here, spatial 100%. We're happy from everything. We know when it's going to render, and we will render it in 2 seconds. Right click and import a file. Now it's called video matte with something else. Now it's video matte opacity with a mistake in spelling, but it's okay. I think you will forgive me. Cool. So we have it here. Let's take our video, create a new comp, and take our video matte here and drop it on top. And here you are, you have it at 100%. Let's play it. It will take some time to render. Yep, we can come back here. We say transform and fit to comp. So now you have your matte video that you can put anywhere you want. Thank you very much for listening. I hope this section was very useful to you. What you can do, and what I do sometimes, if I have time free and I feel like it, I will go and create so many of these in many fashions with fireworks, stories like this and so on, and just store them as my video matte library. It's very useful. Actually, I will use 1/100 when there is a need, but the ideas that are there are very good and they help me create even more and more. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next section.